This video is brought to you by Squarespace, allowing you to build your own beautiful website. More on them in a little bit though. The 2022 Formula 1 season is finally over, and if you're a fan of the Scuderia, congratulations for not killing yourself yet. After 2 years of having a car about as capable of winning as I am catching the YouTube algorithm, Ferrari came into the new season as the team to beat for the first time in a while. And yet, we find ourselves now, 8 months after I made this curse of a video, wondering what the hell went wrong. Hey there guys, I'm Will, welcome to FP1, and to something that fans of the channel have been asking for a very, very long time. That's right, it's Ferrari Watch. Let's be honest, Haas, despite their season being a tale of two halves, sometimes literally, weren't incompetent enough this year to warrant a sequel to the video I made last December. Thankfully, another team took on the task of providing me with most of my material over the course of the year, none other than Scuderia Ferrari. So what I want to do today is break down their season and work out exactly what went wrong for the boys in red. Nah, not really, I just want to take the piss out of them and make some money while I'm at it. Helping me in that regard will be Squarespace, who've kindly agreed to sponsor this video. I've spoken about Squarespace many times in the past, but if you're not aware, they provide you with the tools to build your own beautiful website. The best thing about it is how easy it is to use. I'll admit, I was a little daunted going in, but was amazed straight away at how simple it was to design and customize my page. Once you've logged in, just select a starting point for one of Squarespace's fantastic templates, then tweak any aspect of that you like, from the images to the colors to plugging as many FP1 videos at the bottom. Once you're then ready to launch, you can keep up to date with how your site is performing thanks to Squarespace's excellent analytics features. So whether you're here to sell a new product, promote your existing business, or just start sharing your thoughts on a blog since Twitter's going down the drain, you can be set up in no time. And the best part is, you can try all this out for free by heading to squarespace.com and redeeming your 14-day free trial. And once you're set up and ready to go, head over to squarespace.com/FP1Will or use the code on screen to get 10% off your first purchase. So cheers again to Squarespace. Now let's get back to the video. So the beginning of Ferrari's 2022 season actually went pretty well. The team seemed pretty much untouchable in Bahrain, helped by the fact that Red Bull had the reliability of a witness in an Epstein trial. I mean, remember when we laughed at them for being bottom of the Constructors' Championship? Yeah, that aged well, didn't it? Regardless, the Milton Keynes-based squad were able to battle back in Saudi Arabia, though Ferrari were still considered the ones to beat, a fact Charles Leclerc drove home after a dominant second victory of the season in Australia. Now, while he was doing everything right, the same couldn't be said for the other side of the garage. Carlos Sainz had made a strong start to Ferrari in 2021, so much so that I tipped him to be a world champion at the beginning of the year. The Spaniard would pay me back by showing everyone his growing gravel collection in Melbourne and Imola. Admittedly, he was helped out in Italy by good old Daniel Ricciardo, but he'd already visited the sand in qualifying, putting him with the dreaded mid-pack in the first place. Leclerc can't go without a mention here either. He was battling back and hoping to snatch a podium before he decided he would rather throw his car into the wall, maybe just to give Red Bull a fighting chance in 2022. Yep, that sure turned out well as well, didn't it? Miraculously, despite the impact, Leclerc was able to get his car going again and still managed to make it to the flag. However, his 36-point lead over Max Verstappen in the championship did start to look under threat. After Imola came Miami, where thankfully Ferrari didn't screw anything up. Just Carlos Sainz. While Charles had the pace to take pole on Saturday, the Ferraris had the race trim of a Morris Marina, allowing Max Verstappen to quickly inherit the lead and drive off into the sunset. Get used to that, as it will be happening quite a lot in 2022. Formula 1 would then move back to Europe as Ferrari aimed to get back to their earlier season form. Carlos Sainz did exactly that, before the Scuderia realised they probably should have been a bit more specific. Leclerc at least was back on form, and this time seemed to be cruising towards a comfortable victory. Note the phrase "seemed to be" in that one. On lap 27, Charles began to report a loss of power, in what would lead to Ferrari's first mechanical retirement of the season. This is where I put out another foreshadowing joke, but I've already ran out of ideas by this point. So with Leclerc up in smoke and Sainz playing in the sand, Max Verstappen Racing were handed victory on a plate, and the prancing horses weren't practically excited for what was to come next. The Monaco Grand Prix. You see, Leclerc's record at his home race leaves much to be desired. He would at least snatch pole after Sergio Perez binned it or crashed out on purpose, depending on whether you're Dutch or not. Future scandals aside, Leclerc would finally have his opportunity to start his home race from P1, and with it being Monaco, you'd expect it to be an easy lights to flag victory. But not quite. I think now is a good enough time to introduce the other main character in Ferrari's 2022 Tale of Woe, team principal Mattia Binotto, or as I like to call him, Mushroom Man. Super Mario himself would come under fire after Ferrari's strategy couldn't tell if the track was dry or not, pitting Leclerc twice and knocking him from first to fourth, in incredibly what would be his best Monaco GP to date. Ferrari strategists would have to find a way to redeem themselves at the next race in Azerbaijan, though the team's reliability department made sure they'd never even have the chance. In what was already going to be a damage limitation race for the team, Sainz would get bored after not finding any gravel traps for 4 laps and park up with a hydraulic failure. Ferrari then seemed to forget that Leclerc was in the race to begin with, only being reminded once his car trundled down the pit lane, turning it into a London pub prior to the 2005 smoking ban. And Ferrari's engine's tendency to kill themselves was already coming back to bite them, Leclerc needing to take a penalty as early as the next race in Canada. This practically ruled him out of fighting Max Verstappen for the win, leaving Ferrari's hopes and dreams in the hands of Carlos Sainz. The only problem with that was that it was Carlos Sainz. Admittedly, both drivers still performed well here, and Red Bull seemed to have the pace in Montreal anyway, and initially it looked like it would be a similar story at Silverstone, until the Scuderia got a helping hand from their Italian comrades. Turns out, turning your F1 car into an AlphaTauri cheese grater doesn't do a whole lot for performance. However, hats off to Charles Leclerc for being a good sport and levelling the playing field by T-boning Perez. Carlos Sainz, meanwhile, had managed to temper his love of gravel, securing his first pole on Saturday and was doing well. Never mind. Verstappen's subsequent issue would hand the Spaniard his lead back, though now a 1-2 looked all but certain. You've got to hand it to Ferrari for still finding a way to screw this up. Esteban Ocon would cause a safety car when his Alpine remembered it was French with 13 laps to go. Ferrari would pit Sainz onto new tyres, though seemingly forgot they had 2 cars out there. I guess that's easy to miss after George Russell committed genocide on the first lap. The team tried to rectify the issue by asking Sainz to stay behind Leclerc and give up the chance at his first win in Formula 1. Carlos did what I think we would all do, and told Ferrari to get fucked. So Sainz did secure that maiden victory. Not that Ferrari appeared to care, as Mushroom Man decided to instead console Leclerc, the Monegasque falling off the podium and failing to capitalise on Verstappen's troubles. Not that that would matter come the end of the season, let's be honest. Charles would at least have his mojo back come round 11 of the season at Austria, storming on for an easy win, while it was Carlos Sainz who tried out the Romain Grosjean experience. There's not much more to say on this one, despite this being the final win for the Scuderia in 2022. Let that sink in for a second. Things would really begin to unravel at the French Grand Prix, Leclerc running away in the lead until he lost his way in the epileptic seizure that is Le Castellet's runoff. But where was Carlos Sainz, you ask? Well, good question. He was at the back of the grid thanks to another engine penalty, finally deciding that this was the point in the season where he would remember how to actually drive a race car. It was a valiant fight through the field, but P5 was the best the Spaniard could muster, all while Sid from Ice Age took yet another victory in dominant style. With just one race to go before the summer break, it seemed like everyone in Ferrari just wanted the season to be over. Everyone bar Mr. Mushroom, who claimed that the team could still easily win the 10 remaining races of 2022. Oh, that's cute. With Verstappen starting out of position for Sunday's Hungarian Grand Prix, the Scuderia had an ideal opportunity to take advantage. An opportunity they threw in the trash next to Marco Mattiacci. They first gave up pole position to the W13, which at this point in the season was still behaving more like your girlfriend's love honey order than a Formula 1 car. Though they rectified this early on in the race, the team then pitted Leclerc from the lead onto the hard tyre. This was after seeing many fail on the same strategy. But remember, it's Ferrari after all, and they always know best. Shockingly enough, by half race distance, Verstappen, despite starting in the depths of Narnia, was on the Monegasque's tail, Leclerc's defence was so bad the first time round, the Dutchman opted to even have a little spin and give him another go. At this stage, Ferrari were left with two options. They could leave Leclerc out on the hards and just have him struggle to the finish line, or slap on some softs straight away and see what he could do battling back through the pack. But Ferrari had a much preferred third option, one that no other team had come up with. They would leave Leclerc out for another 10 laps and then pit him, giving him all time to actually use his new tyres. I'm just lost for words. So after another Verstappen victory, that brings us to the midpoint in the season and the end of this video. Ferrari simply f***ed up too many times for me to fit this into one upload, and I may have also run out of time. So part 2 will come along in the next few days. Make sure you're subscribed to see that. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check out their stuff in the description and pinned comment below. And I can't go without a mention to all of my patrons for supporting the work I do. Links to get involved in that are down there as well. But for now, that's all from me. I'll see you soon for part 2, but until then, have a good one.